Dragons Only versus the Endgame content. It's been a tedious process to grind for, so much repetitive farming in these domains that I'll be skipping over. I'm happy to finally share what happened. To start, I prioritized maxing out Jinzhou's skill since she outputs the most damage and doesn't have to rely on Mortifi and her team. This was as much as I could do at the current level 80 cap. My friend wasn't kidding when he told me that leveling characters gets expensive resource-wise towards the end. I actually needed to farm more Howler cores for GN and eventually for level 90. To be clear, the Dread mains aren't the only enemies that drop Howler mats. They just happened to be the first I saw in the UI. Even then, it took over an hour to hunt all the ones the game marked for us, so let's jump cut ahead a bit. A couple days later, I maxed the gun from Mortifi to level 80. Again, it's ironic that the giant turtle is the one slowing down my upgrade progress since GN and Mortifi both need his materials. Of course, the main DPS gets first dibs. First, I have to 100% clear the experiment zone in order to unlock the real Tower of Adversity content. I soloed the left Resonant Tower with Jinzhou since I think she'll have an easier time fighting and parrying Memphis than Jian did last time. Plus, I think we can make up for the damage during his knockdown phase since Jinzhou's stage 4 skill and ultimate do big chunks of his HP. Just ignore these copium numbers. Jian is more suited for the right tower anyway since the earlier stages have lots of enemies we can group, and Mortifi plus the 5-piece Cloud Echoes should provide enough damage boost to get that final star. Finally, the Hazard Zone. I feel right at home. Like Genshin's Spiral Abyss, each tower has specific buffs. They definitely want me to use Jinzhou for the right tower. I should point out a nice quality of life mechanic. You always start each stage with full energy for your ultimates, regardless if you had no energy after completing the previous stage. The devs know what's up. Let's not waste our time and just get right into the combat. That's awkward. That sucks. A normal person would have reset, but I have enough faith Mortifi can kill the last two enemies, and between you and me, my bad math thought 150 seconds was 3 minutes. So far, I think I'm doing a decent enough job against the DPS check. I am noticing how difficult the later stages are without a healer, especially for an on-field DPS like GN. I will be 100% honest with you all and say that I have no idea what happened in these brief seconds. I think that's the second time my GN ultimate has ever nuked an elite enemy. Alright, it's molding time. I hate the Exile Technicians so much. Giving shields to your allies is cringe. It's only cool when I use them. On my second try, I managed to get past that wave just to die to a laser blast. Awesome. On the one hand, GN should be perfect for this since he can group and pull enemies with his ultimate. On the other hand, this is awful for him since this stupid technician has some kind of stagger resistance at times and does so much damage to me, and it's so frustrating when the stagger resistance happens because the two minion snipers don't approach me, and juggling between them with this much spacing is GG's. The pinch of salt on top is that she likes to either teleport or retreat quickly away from me. Like seriously, what is this bull? Finally got back to the second wave, but I think you can tell my damage output is not enough to 3-star, let alone survive. After a small rage quit break, I switched to the right tower with solo Jinzhou, and oh look, the bane of my existence is back, and I was so close to beating this stage first try. Luckily, this stage only has one wave of enemies. It's just a matter of not getting hit on by the snipers and her. I generally don't have to worry about the leader guy since he follows me. I know my damage is copium, but I am pretty sure she has some kind of spectral resistance. I was doing less damage, but finally done with this nightmare, just to go straight into a new one. At this point in the run, I knew I couldn't get 3 stars, but I could at least finish. Then I learned, the hard way, a stupid mechanic this boss has. It can regenerate some of his toughness after cowering if you are not fast enough. Never have hope, guys. Just give up.
Miss!
Eventually, by some miracle of locking in and blanking all of this from my memory, I cleared the right tower with 2 stars. You know, I didn't get abused enough, so I tried using Bellborn as Mortefy's Echo to have some damage reduction for the team. It helped with surviving the first wave, but it wasn't enough to survive Morning Angs. Look, I already knew my damage wasn't enough to get 3 stars. I was just trying to any percent clear this stage at this point. I'll just have to work on upgrading my characters further. It's time for the cooking proficiency arc. Step 1, select a dish. Step 2, cook enough of it to max proficiency. Step 3, profit. I know, just the most thrilling gameplay of buying every ingredient and recipe I could and cooking them all. In all seriousness, there is a purpose to this. Food buffs are actually really good in this game because a portion of them can last up to 30 minutes. The 2 recipes I'm looking for in particular for later are the candied kelp tops and Shunyun herbal tea, which are only unlocked at certain chef proficiency levels. After upgrading Mortefy as much as I could, it's time to go back to suffering. However, the lineup has changed, and now the left tower favors Jinzhou. The good news is the technician isn't here anymore. The bad news, it's basically the same annoying problem as last time. A pointless first wave with 2 minion snipers and an exile leader who sometimes has stagger resistance. That said, it's a bit easier for me to deal with, so I gotta save as much HP as I can for wave 2, the Inferno Rider. Yippee. One of the worst bosses to face in Tower of Adversity because of his fast and wide hitboxes, and the fact that even if I somehow deplete his toughness bar, no, he has a phase 2 and I have to do it all over again. I decided to switch and take a break from that stage to do the right tower, and stage 3 was painful, but mainly because I did it to myself. See, I could probably clear this with just GN and then save Mortefy for stage 4 for both towers. And while it's definitely my best idea so far, no healer still makes this quite tough. After all, you're definitely not supposed to beat these fights with a solo DPS. Not without the power of a credit card. Actually, that's not a bad idea.
Meanwhile, in the parallel universe...
Listen, before you click off, I'm not going to count using my friend's Resonance 6 Jinzhou for the challenge. However, maybe there's something we can learn from a taste of whale power. And what I learned is I'm still dog shit at this game. For real though, I learned that souling is severely limiting my damage output, regardless of resonances. This is especially true for Jinzhou since most of her damage comes from her stage 4 skill and incandescent stacks. You can only build so many stacks on your own. I also tried the full Dragons team against Scar, which was pointless because for no other reason than to promote Chang Li. This version of Scar has high spectral resistance. Awesome, great, superb. Regardless, I am also more aware of the fact that I need to optimize my echoes and substats better if I'm going to properly take on Tower Adversity again. While I farm for echoes off screen, I'll start on preparing for the other endgame content, the holograms. Okay, that instant switch from a death into another was some bullshit. Oh my god, that was the worst time to switch in, huh? And again, well, if this is me getting clapped at difficulty 5, the final difficulty 6 is going to be great. To make myself feel better, I went ahead and switched to picking on an easier target to unlock their difficulty 5. Then I dared to challenge Memphis and got humbled real fast by difficulty 4. Perhaps the community was in fact not joking with the memes about this boss fight. Let's sidetrack to finishing my map exploration. First was the port city. Only noteworthy moment was this glitch where the loot mapper still thinks the chest I just collected is still there. Very strange. I checked multiple times, even logged in and out of the game, and still there. It did go away after a couple days. As for the dim forest, this one puzzle confused me a lot. There's 2 pressure plates to control a couple of platforms to move. I assume this is to get inside of the box. However, the surface of this is unclimbable, and even if it was, I can only place a bomb on 1 pressure plate at a time, and there wasn't another interactive item nearby that I could use. If you know the actual answer, feel free to let me know in the comments. I fully admit being monkey brain on this one, so I just did what most people said to do instead, cheese it with the Dreamless Echo. With this final chest, I have true ending 100%ed everything in the open world exploration To celebrate, I used all my current savings to get a few more Mortifi constellations off the rate up banner. I'll happily take 2 copies. Alright, it's time to reveal the secret. The week prior, I let you decide in the community tab poll whether we allow Baiji and her pet to count as a dragon. So if you don't like this, blame democracy. Plus, I don't want to hear any of your excuses in the comments since nearly every player uses Verena, the only other healer in the game, in their showcases. Anyway, I am thankful and kind of surprised the majority voted yes. As you'll see soon, the rest of this video wouldn't have been possible without her, so give yourselves a round of applause. I will do my best not to let you down. I also switched my Echo for a crit rate main stat. These substats are so ass, but at least Jinzhou should be critting more often, right? To oversimplify the team and rotation explanation, it is best to only switch to and from Jinzhou when the outro and intro skills are active, as shown on the right side. Jinzhi's talent allows her to enter stage 2 of her skill, meaning we can get to stage 4 quicker. Additionally, the way Jinzhou stacks works is every time she and teammates deal attribute damage and coordinated attack, she gains a stack. It just so happens that Baiji and Mortifi's ultimate are perfect F2P teammates for this. Jinzhou can still build stacks and deal big damage even while the others are on cooldown, it just won't be as high. By nearly 1 second, we are just strong enough to conquer the left tower. Back to this painful stage once again. I came up with a big brain play of giving my Jian an ER cost 3 Echo so that I can get my ultimate faster. I may have sacrificed some crit rate, but it doesn't matter when I'm not going for 3 stars on this right away. Afterwards, I switched back to my arrow damage bonus Echo for the final boss. First attempt got Scar down to about 35% of his HP, just eyeballing that. Second attempt, I absolutely flopped the rotation. Third attempt, down to 20% of his HP. It may seem far, but I think it's doable. I just have to play perfectly. With that, I shall now explain the rotation. Similar to Jinzhou, it is optimal to switch to Jian when his intro skill is active so that I can get resolve stacks, and as long as my resolve stacks are over 50%, I will deal more damage with my ultimate. While it sucks to have to wait for that timing and having 20 seconds of not really doing that much damage, I make up for it in about half that time with just run rotation. The only downside to GN is using his skill also consumes resolve stacks to deal more damage. So it's best to only use it to build energy when the ultimate is off cooldown and when you're in the ultimate state, since you cannot consume resolve stacks using the skill. I'm going to slow this down to show you how I squeezed out a little bit more damage by animation canceling out the monkey into Mortifi skill back into GN intro skill to unleash the full power of my ultimate. Just a shame I didn't have Mortifi ultimate up. Regardless, this was the best DPS window I could hope for. With one final GN rotation, it was just enough to secure the win. All that's left is to play a little riskier in stage 3 and I'm finally done. Once this line scale construct has its toughness broken, it's over. I just need to get to that point. Pretty difficult with balancing the resolve stacks for the ultimate and skill, but I never said it was impossible. We win these, let's go! 24 out of 30 stars in the hazard zone. That is the absolute max potential I can get until Curl Games decides to add more valid characters for my challenge to do the 3rd tower. Now it's only the hologram challenges left. I started with a monkey because it's one of the easier ones. At least, that's what I thought. We don't talk about this run, or this one. Now we can officially start difficulty 6. I insta-died of cancer? Okay, I did not parry before swapping. Noted. Holy, that just erases me. It took some time and more failures before I finally realized what was actually killing me, aside from being bad. It's a shadow clone Jitsu bull. Look at how much damage they do. So I need to learn to be aware of the exact timing they spawn, which according to this handy guide is basically at the end of his moves and combos. For anyone curious, I am refusing to use revise mid fight out of nothing but pure pride. What is that range? Finally, a damage window opportunity. Honestly, the countdown isn't as much of a concern as it is in Tower of Adversity. I'm given plenty of time to do this, but it's best to finish this as soon as possible to avoid the boss getting too many damage stacks later on. You have got to be kidding me. 2 shadow clones after he gets off his pillar? All right, avoided it that time. He spawned right on top of me. As much as I would like to believe Mortifi could solo this, it ain't happening. Switching my Echo to main stat crit damage, since my food buff health gives me 10 free crit rate, 62% is enough. I have no idea what happened there or how to avoid that. Bruh, I must have missed the parry window when switching by milliseconds. There is no other way. That said, I also have no idea how I didn't die here. Then, just to pour salt on the wound, one of the shadow monkeys just stands there, doing nothing. Usually you can't spam dodging because it has an internal cooldown, but I guess I hit the perfect timing there. It still didn't matter. It happened again. I have no idea why the right monkey decided not to attack me. Oh my god, I finally parried it. Let's go. Come on, I pressed R, I swear. Right hand on the Bible. That motherfucker is cheating. Okay, I just gotta hit him with like 1 or 2 more rotation combos. I can dodge just fine. I am the biggest idiot in the world. Let's go! Yes! Oh, my heart! My heart, Jinzhou, the goat! The goat! Dude, my heart, I can't take it. I can't take it right now. Heron was the true easiest boss of the bunch. Maybe it's partly because of my time fighting this enemy with Jinzhou only in Tower of Adversity earlier. The only trouble I had was not parrying his arrow dash attack. I am somehow so skilled at missing a giant parry circle.
Bring it on.
Despite that, I already learned all the tricks it would try to pull, so I was pretty confident that I could do this with just Baiji and Jinzhou. I had only one moment of panic when his fire breath nearly one-shot Jinzhou. Alright, finish you in style, Jinzhou, yeah! Oh my god, I almost threw that. And that's difficulty 6. First try, by the way. Now, perhaps I got a little too overconfident after Heron because I immediately went for Crownless. In fairness, this is the last one before I have to fight the boss I hate the most and the boss I know that will destroy me. Crownless seemed to be the most human enemy to fight. It felt like his AI knew how to do mix-ups and adapt to throw me off my guard. The first phase is catch these hands. He mainly dashes around trying to close the gap or briefly retreat after getting his hits in. Second phase, however, may God help us all when he finally gets his wings and a toughness bar. The worst part is when he decides to use his insanely fast and relentless rapid ground and air attacks all together. Sing, 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 sing. Oh my god, I was so close. This is a genuinely fun and intense fight. Also, how did that parry miss?
Huh?
That's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about.
誇れ。お前は強い。
Your strike is one. Best in Starlight.
Next is Mooring Inks, and I hate this boss so much. Awful, awful, awful. It took 15 minutes just to clear difficulty 5. Just like Crownless, this boss can also fly. Unlike Crownless, this boss is a It loves multiple flying attacks or retreats like a coward, and it seriously messes up with the lock-on feature of the game. Okay, so then just don't use the lock-on feature. Cool. Then I'm not gonna be able to see the freaking air dive grab into an automatic death, even for a full HP Baiji. So the best workaround I found, because the camera will not let me look up far enough to see where the boss is coming from, is to just run away and hope that I'm not in the grab range. Now this is a first. I researched researched this boss beforehand and discovered if you don't counter and parry this enemy during this specific attack, you are punished with multiple projectile barrages in a row. You can't dodge the projectiles if you react in time. Wait, so Baishi can parry attacks. This is probably unreliable because I have to be right next to the boss and Baishi's basic attacks are slower, but this is good information. Lastly, I feel the guides lied to me because this boss is supposed to have a few more moves that have visual ring indicators for parrying. They're small, but still visible. That said, there's just too much happening on my screen for me to consciously process what is going on. And they have some of the worst hitboxes ever. I swear, the AI refuses to use its moves that are parryable 99% of the time. I have better luck getting a random 5-star off a single pull, zero pity. Even after all the complaining, it's still doable to survive long enough to stagger the boss and get my damage in. When it gets back up, the boss does a 9-hit combo attack, which is reactable. Oh my god, that timing was awful. He Instagrammed me from across the map. No way. Another death grab? Alright, I avoided that one.
Till my last breath.
Oh, man, no.
Oh my god.
I called it.
Fear no more.
Are you serious? You can't make that up. No dev can ever recreate what just happened to me. Yeah, I'll let you all know right now, this is the only boss where if anyone dies before staggering the boss for the first time, I just insta reset. I need everyone alive until this boss is at like 25% HP before I can feel confident I could clutch it. So many failed runs, shattering the record set by the monkey hologram. After his second 9-hit combo, in the end, he just gave up. I was expecting him to fall up immediately, but he didn't. I don't care what y'all say, a win is a win. GN deserved to completely erase Aang's from existence with that ultimate. Finally, everything has led up to this. Okay, since when was fighting two bosses at the same time fair? That's a half-lie. The gimmick of Memphis is he has a clone that can attack us at any moment with any of the moves the main one has. However, this boss is peak parrying. Almost all of its moves can be parried or dodged, although even difficulty 5 is insanely difficult, so I'll take the time to explain my thought process after my runs for the day. The problem I'm most worried about is figuring out when my damage window is. When he's staggered, it is only for like 1 to 2 seconds and then he continues. He recovered so fast, meaning I barely have time to set up my usual rotation. So my first thought was using Jinzhou instead, since it's easier to set up her stage 4 skill for big damage, regardless if the boss is staggered or not. Second, Baishi is kinda bad. Unlike Verena, her healing is mainly limited to only the active character when she is off field. It's a bit frustrating, but I can still work with this. Mainly, despite having like 180% ER, I think I'll need a second ER main stat 3 cost echo for her to squeeze out the last bit of healing and survivability. I did forget to record myself getting it after like 10 minutes of farming the open world, which according to my friend is insanely lucky. First run of the day, managed to clear difficulty 5 on the first attempt, only through a couple of times. Alright, I didn't clear it on the first attempt of difficulty 6. Even so, not too bad without food buffs either. Oh. Okay, now to explain this unorthodox team comp. Mortefi is unfortunately dead weight because there is no way for him to parry Memphis. So instead, the idea is to let Jian build his ultimate up for free parries and then to swap to Jinzhou during his cooldowns to deal the majority of the damage. That is the initial plan, but Jian's death is the least severe. Yeah, I threw this so hard. I panic dodged too early right at the end. Granted, my odds of beating Memphis with just Baiji were extremely low. 4 more attempts and Jinzhou critting for once in her life. Memphis is finally slain. You know, it's crazy looking back at this challenge. As of writing this script and getting this build footage, it is exactly 6 months since I started. I think all I can say is thank you all so much for watching this video all the way through and supporting the series. I do feel that I have gotten everything I wanted out of this game, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Yes, even the times I was molding so hard. I know Kuro Games will continue to update the game, and I maybe will return for any new combat content they add. Otherwise, I hope part 6 serves as a nice ending for you just as much as it has been for me.